Okay, let me just double check and make sure that we are actually live on my feed. And there we are live.
Okay.
Almost right on time. So
Okay.
I think we're on time. I'm not quite sure. Pretty close.
Yeah.
Welcome everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Michelle Hill, and with me I have Dinesh Karki.
Namaste.
I am based in Brisbane, Australia, and my very good friend Dinesh is based in Kathmandu. You will need to turn your volume off. So we are working in collaboration together. We're on a number of different aspects of both Dinesh's business and creating some really interesting treks and tours in and around Nepal. But today, what we want to talk about is if you're interested in trekking in Nepal, what are some of the things that you really need to know about? Before we get started on that little topic, as I said, my name is Michelle Hill. And for those of you who don't know me, if I go back around about 10 years ago now, I was feeling a little bit lost. What was my purpose? I was in a job that it was okay, and on the surface, everything looked great, but I still had this underlying nagging feeling of, is this it? Is this it? And then I kept seeing this trek for Everest Base Camp pop up in my emails and in my feed, and I had never done any trekking before. And then one day, just on an impulse, I decided to buy this trek to Everest Base Camp. And it turned out to be pretty much one of the hardest things I'd ever done in my life. And the surprising thing for me was that not only was it a really good physical challenge, it was also a mental challenge. And by pushing myself outside of my comfort zone, I really felt that I grew as a person and I changed, and I started on a really interesting personal development journey. But I've also continued my trekking journey as well. I returned to Nepal in 2017 and did Annapurna Circuit, which was amazing. And I literally a week and a half ago finished a 2-week trek in the middle of Australia called Larapinta Trail. And this November, I will be back in Nepal again with Dinesh. So part of the reason for today was just because we want to just share all of the excitement and the really great things that can happen to you when you do come trekking in Nepal, and to help you get over some of those worries and fears. Now, I'm going to ask Dinesh to introduce himself so you guys have a good idea of who you are listening to.
Hello, namaste, everyone. Welcome to Nepal. I'm Dinesh from Nepal, and I'm from East of Nepal, where they're located Mount Everest, where I was born and brought from that region. And last 25 years, I'm working in this field as a guide in beginning, like different upgrade in different posts like porter, guide. And then last 8 to 9 years, we have like our organization, Nature Explore Trekking, where we're running like many customers, many groups in different regions of Nepal, like such as Mount Everest region, Mount Annapurna region, Manaslu, Kanchenjunga, Mount Makalu, many more, including Tibet, India, Bhutan, many more trips. And we are the best in Nepal, in Kathmandu, and one of the best trekking agency. So welcome in this group. And we are very excited to welcome you all in this November.
Thanks, Dinesh. So in the event information that I prepared, some of the, and I wrote these questions based on some of the things that I was thinking about before I came to Nepal for the first time. So I'm just going to go through some of these questions, and then I'm sure they'll bring up other things that we can talk about.
Yeah.
So the first one I put down was, what sort of shoes or boots are best, particularly like if we're talking about, the well-known treks like Everest Base Camp and Annapurna Circuit. From your perspective, what do you think are the best kind of shoes?
Thank you for good questions. This is really good question, and it is very important for all the adventure seekers who want to do the trekking in such adventure places like Everest Base Camp, Annapurna Base Camp, and Annapurna Circuit, like including many trips. So normally we need a good trekking boots to protect our feet when we're walking in this kind of terrain, like up and downs. And we need at least our like proper trekking boots, which is cover our ankles, like still little over. And it should be also the waterproof.
Yeah.
Waterproof, because of sometime, we also have to walk on the ice or fresh snowing. So we always recommend the good trekking boots from the good company. So that makes help your trip or journey success. So I would highly recommend everyone who are planning or preparing for a future trip in Nepal. So please, the boots are very important, and buy the good suits, which are covered your ankles.
Yeah.
And comfortable with your size.
So I was going to show, like, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. These are the boots that I have now. They're not the ones I wore when I came to Nepal, but they're very similar. And as Dinesh has said, ankle support, and they're waterproof. And while you were talking, one thing that did occur to me too is that, the care of your feet is so important. And it's really important to try and avoid blisters, which comes down to like having your boots, as you say, really comfortable. I've always trekked wearing 2 pairs of socks, a thin pair, and then the thicker wool socks. I'm not saying that's the only way to do it, but for me personally, I've managed to escape blisters on pretty much most of the stuff that I've done. The other thing I have to show you is something I discovered earlier this year, which I used when I went trekking in Larapinta. And now here are my beautiful socks. Now these ones, yeah, these are the Injinji socks. And what I do is, so they separate out and protect each of your toes. And these are the thinner ones, they're the liners. And then I still wear my thick socks over the top. And as I said, I've just spent 2 weeks out in the middle of Australia walking over rocky trails and all sorts of things, and did not get one blister, which I'm very, very grateful for. Because once you get a blister, or once you have something go wrong with your boots or your feet, the trek is not going to be fun at all. Now, one of the other things that I was trying to figure out from searches and things before I came was, how cold will it be during the day and at night? So obviously different months are different, but if you could give us general ideas of like nighttime temperatures and what to expect during the day over like some of the different months that people trek in Nepal, that would be awesome.
Thank you, Michael, for another good questions. Yeah, it is, as you said, it is depend on which season we're trekking in Nepal. Let's say, for example, if we trek in autumn, like October, November, end of the November. So normally during the day, it's very hot when we are walking on the trail. It's more sunshine, and when we have a clear weather, so we have a good temperature like 20, 22. It depends on which region we are trekking. Let's say, if I give an example, we are trekking in Annapurna region. Like the Gorefani Punil trekking, one of the shortest trekking. So for this trek, during the day, the temperature will be 25. during the when sun shining. Okay.
So t-shirts, hats, and sunscreen.
Yes, this is very important to protect our skin.
Yep.
And it is in autumn. I mean, I'm talking.
Yep. Whoops. So you've frozen, Dinesh. Now, what can we do? Okay, guys, well, I'm a little bit stuck here because I'm a bit not tech savvy. So Dinesh is just frozen on us. So I am just going to send him a message and just see. Oh, he's disappeared. So hopefully he's going to come back very soon. As you can see, we're talking about temperatures and daytime temperatures during the Annapurna and Annapurna region trekking. And Dinesh, you're back.
Sorry, I'm sorry. This is our internet problem. I apologize for this.
That's okay. I just went, oh, I'm not very tech savvy. I'm not really sure what to do because you had frozen. So if you freeze again, I'll just keep talking and wait for you to come back.
Okay.
So we were talking about temperatures daytime and nighttime.
Yeah,
and
sorry.
You got up to autumn. Yeah.
Yeah, can I continue? Then same
questions? Keep going.
Sorry for yeah. So autumn is a little hot, and midnight in the nighttime it will be like 15 to 17. And if we do the same trek in December to January, February in winter season, it falls a little colder, and during the day it will be 12 to 15 temperature, and midnight it will be like 10 to 12. Yeah. And same trek if we do in spring, like March to May, the temperature will be increasing hot. So during the day it will be 20, 22. Yeah. And midnight it will be like 15 to 17. You know, it's all depend on the season, which season where. Yeah. And because if we do the same,
because I was just going to say, like, they're the daytime temperatures, and you've mentioned nighttime. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do remember very, very cold nights, and I did Everest Base Camp, I think it was September time, and Annapurna Circuit in November time. So it can get cold at night.
Yes, exactly. This is a good question, because I was just giving this example was for short trek. Okay, right. So for same time, if we do the Everest Base Camp, like longer trek and higher trek, and on a circuit like a long trek and high remote area, yes, it is. You are right. It will be different temperature. Right. During the daytime, it will be, if not sunshine, let's say when we're doing Everest Base Camp trek, and there is like cloudy or like not good weather and raining, something like that. In the daytime, it falls like 10 to 12 temperature. Yeah. And midnight, it will be like 8 to 10. So at that time, you need to have a good sleeping bag, and you can also get extra blanket on top of your sleeping bag. You can use it, you know. So it depends which. So
in the tea houses, they will provide extra blankets as well.
Yes, they provide very clean blanket, which you can use on top of your sleeping bag.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because I guess you were talking about Annapurna region, but like Everest Base Camp and Annapurna Circuit goes to a much higher altitude, doesn't it? So therefore, you get the really cold weather.
Yes.
And the really cold showers.
Cold shower, it's like there is no snack showers. So only pocket shower, like we using like proper local style, where we are there, it gives a good experience for all travelers who want to get a new experience in their life, out of their comfort zone. So, I
do remember a couple of places paying for a hot shower, and I'm using the term loosely, where you know you get there and you turn the tap on and there was a little tiny trickle of water, and it may or may not have been hot.
Yeah. Yes.
Now, one of the key things I think that preys on a lot of people's mind is, what about altitude sickness? And I guess the follow-on question to that would be, like, should you take, is it Diamox beforehand and all that sort of stuff? So I'll let you run through that.
Okay, thank you for another questions. Yes, another important things to win before we plan and before we go to that remote area, we need to know about altitude sickness problem. So it is very important, and if we don't know anything about that, it can be also affect your trip. So normally the altitude sickness starts after 2,500 meter high. Okay.
Yeah.
So before 2,500 meters, no problem for anyone. Even you are from sea level and fly to Kathmandu 1,300 meter and acclimatize like one extra day here, and then just visit and stay and go to restaurant, something you will be used to it, slowly. The next day you will fly to Lukla for Everest Base Camp trek, and you will go to Pokhara for Annapurna, like sorts of different trail. So when you go day by day, little up and up, so your altitude acclimatize was also rising up. Rising up when you reach around 2,500 to 3,000 meter. So slowly it can be started. In this case, when you are going to like more pain or more you feel altitude, so normally we provide you Diamox, which is the medicine for altitude. Just for not full pill, just we give half pill in every 6 hours different. And when you get like, and also if you get better, you will be continue your trip. And if you feel like not comfortable and still you get like more symptoms, the altitude symptoms like vomiting, dizzy, cannot eat, cannot walk, lose your balance, like this kinds of symptoms you will receive. And if your symptoms goes more worse, and then you will be take rest in same spot. If you are really low altitude, like 3,000 to 3,500 meter in between, and if you get like a better, we will continue a trip to further up to other place. But if you are getting like even worse, then we will descend. Because this is the most important medicine is descent. So at least we have to be 400 to 500 meter descent from where you are. So, and then if you are get better after descending, then you will be resting on, and if you have a flexible with time, you can continue a trip further up. But if you are limited with time, you will back down slowly to your like last place in Kathmandu and check your hospital, whatever. But in same case, someone, when we're trekking in Everest Base Camp or Annapurna circuit in remote area, and someone get high altitude sick in 4,000 meter or 5,000 meter. So in this scenario, we have to be very careful. And that case, even like your guide, your staff, your assistant Sherpa will look after you, and who will you follow, and then they can easily read about your body structure, body balance, anything they can communicate with you, and we will take you try to get down. And then if you get really worse and worse, so we'll not leave you there a long time, because of it can be dangerous in your life. So at that case, we will evacuate you to the nearest hospital or Pokhara or Kathmandu for your more treatment and for save your life. So that's the things that happen. Normally, high altitude start after 2,500 meter high. So sometimes people don't get directly high altitude sickness in 3,000 meter. When they're rising little up and up every day in the 4,000 meter or 5,000 meters, sometimes they can get. But before you get high altitude, we will know all your symptoms. You have to communicate with your guide and your helper. So we will read your symptoms accordingly. We will follow up you and then take you down and give you medicines. All will be happen in the same situations.
Now, for anybody watching, if you do have any questions, please type them in the comments. So Dinesh, like, I know for myself, when I did both of my treks, I took Diamox like right from the time I got to Kathmandu. And I remember with Everest Base Camp probably just feeling a little bit off and a little bit headachy. And when I did Annapurna circuit, the thing I remember there was that like I didn't get like sick that like I couldn't continue, but I did feel like a bit headachy and not much appetite as well. But then once we got through Thorongla Pass and we went like down the other side, you know, as soon as we got down, because you go down quite quickly, as soon as we got down like 1,000 meters or whatever it was, or 1,500 meters, it was like somebody flicked a switch, and then I felt perfectly all right. So, but how often, you know, like, because I know that you run treks all the time. So how often do you see somebody who gets quite ill with altitude sickness?
Yeah, it's quite often, you know, like it depends which trek we're trekking, you know, like for example, if we're going to an Everest Base Camp trekking, so normally people get headaches and a little bit of feeling of altitude because of you're coming from sea level, and then without many days acclimatized, you will be trekking to with your time limit to the Everest Base Camp, and people normally get high altitude sickness normally in like let's say after 4,000 meter, right? So when they feel altitude, they will have slightly headache, and then raising, increasing slowly, vomiting, not appetizing, and you know, like you like feels like no energy, and you will lose your sense, and then you will not figure out what is the exactly this kind of symptoms you will get. Okay, so yeah,
so,
this is
pretty much like most people get some sort of symptoms, even if they're very mild, but it is really important to make sure that you communicate really well with your guide. How often do you have somebody who gets really sick that you have to evacuate them to hospital?
If I'm remember back my 10 years, let's say, I forget like a long time. This I will try to remember my 10 years. 10 years
remember that far?
Yeah. Yeah. Let me remember my latest one. Okay.
Yeah.
Latest one is in last year in autumn. So one of our clients from US, he was like 82 years, who was trying to trekking in Manaslu circuit trekking.
Yeah.
And in 3,500 meter in Samagaon, when he was on the hike to the Manaslu base camp, and incidentally, he had a slightly headache from beginning, and then we were suggesting and follow up him. In the meantime, when he got like really worse situations, and then we evacuate him quickly. So this is our worst in last autumn.
Right. Okay.
Normally, even in my past trip, so not really often it happened, but some we have memories, you know, like like I already explained, like if we will read first situations, you know, we don't people forced to take a helicopter back down to the back down and quit their holiday. So, but our main responsibility is protect people and give security and safety. So that reason, so we will see the situations and then give them to like all freedom.
Okay, so if I was to summarize that, then for people who've never trekked in Nepal before, you will experience some sort of either headache or loss of appetite, something. Make sure you communicate with your guide. Like, don't keep it a secret and think, oh no, if I tell anybody, they're going to take me back down. But it's unlikely that it's going to get to the point where you have to evacuate. So, and I think, it's difficult because it's hard to predict, isn't it, whether people will get altitude sickness or not. And do your guides and your porters get altitude sickness, or are they used to it?
Beginning of season, yes, they get little bit, not, but they used to eat and they digest quickly because of they are from the same region or from Nepal.
Okay. you would hope that they're used to being in Nepal. What else did I put on this list? What sort of food will be available?
Pardon? Can you repeat what?
What sort of food will be available?
Okay, so let's say if we trek in Annapurna region, Everest region, Manaslu region, so these places are very classical trekking routes we have available. So in these places, we already have the commercial like tea houses and good restaurants, and you can eat in same place where you sleep in that same restaurant.
Yeah.
And you can choose all the food from menu board, menu card, small menu card, what is the restaurant we can get, and it is available there. And you can choose all types of food like organic Nepalese food, like whatever grow there in mountains, like vegetables, potatoes, maize, millet, breads items, potato items. These are more popular organics. You can also choose from menu. And also if you want to eat like your home country food, like all these Westerns and Americans, continentals, Indians, all types of food we can get from restaurant.
So, because I remember when I was there. It feels like a long time ago now. I remember people saying to me that it's better to eat vegetarian and avoid meat while you're trekking on Everest Base Camp. Is that true?
Yes, some point I would say yes, because of like the food are oily. Sorry, I mean meat are oily, and they're not. We don't get fresh meat every places,
Right.
because they take from long way down, and they freeze it a long time,
Right.
and they're not healthy. So I also, as I'm a tour operator and many trekking organizer, so to my all clients, I brief them before their departure from Kathmandu.
Yeah.
Safe with food. Food is important, but in other hand, we have to be also careful.
Yeah.
Use food. So when we're going up to the mountain to until your end of the destination, like in Everest Base Camp or Annapurna Circuit, Thorangla Top, or any trekking, we don't not avoid the meat.
Right.
At least for a week.
Yeah.
And then if you really want, when we come back down after complete our dream and success trip, and then you can have some meat for taste taste of Nepal.
Right. All right. And I guess following on from that too, the other thing that was recommended to me was not to drink alcohol.
Yes, when we're going up especially, and then when we come down after our trip complete, we can celebrate, no problem.
So why? Yeah, lots of celebrations at the end. I do remember going to a whiskey bar in Namche Bazaar.
The Namche Bazaar is very popular market.
Yeah,
it has been established like long time ago before their civilizations started. So where we can get everything, like that because you were there. Yeah.
So what is the reason for not having alcohol? Is it
because of the reason is high altitude.
Right.
Like if we get like more drunk, like more drink, and then we have like some breath problem, and altitude will not. Sorry, the alcohol is definitely not support for high altitude. And
okay.
For example, last night if we drink like alcohol, next day we could have a bad headache.
Right.
Okay? And then we can lose our balance and anything. So in my experience, I would say alcohol is banned for going high trip.
Okay. So I'm just going to, there's one comment. I'm just going to see what that is. Oh, Tim said, hope there's not an earthquake. Because when I came, I think it was 6 months after the earthquake. So what else have I got on my list here? What sort of day pack will I need?
So in the day pack, normally you will carry your important documents, camera, and a book, like whatever you use. Because when we start our morning day, the day from morning, your main bag will carry by our supporting staff. Yeah. Water. Yeah. So you will not have time to open every time your big bag on the trail. So we always brief our customers, clients on the trek. Please, whatever you need for next day, pack in your day pack, like your extra t-shirt. Yeah. Because of when we're walking in sweat, so extra t-shirts always you can change. and then light jackets, maybe, in the afternoon, sometime when sun is goes down or in shadow place, we could be little feel cold. And your important documents like your passport is very important, and your like gadgets or like cash, not keep in the big bag. Keep your big bag. For this feed, I would suggest 5 to 7 liters would be enough. So also you have to check your water bottle holding place, because the water bottles also stay with you, because whenever you need, you want to drink, you can drink.
Because for me, like, and you mentioned something quite important there too, was the water, because like staying hydrated is important to help with altitude sickness, isn't it?
This is very important, because normally we suggest to our clients at least 3 liter water a day. At least. Like, or you can, if you want, you can drink 5-6 liter also, but minimum 3 liters is helpful, because we have to stay the dehydrate. Let me repeat same same old questions. Like the headaches will we sometimes, when we have a headache in high altitude, this is 2 types of headache. If we have a headache, we also can have from wind and dehydrations. This is not counted in high altitude. Okay. So if we have a headache in front, this is from the cold winds and dehydration. When we have a bad headache in this side and this side, and this is from altitude, so we can easily read that. So we highly recommend to our trekkers, customers, travelers who are planning to come Nepal, please make sure that bring the good water bottles, and then drink more water, at least 3 liters a day.
I know. And I know for myself, I have a 3 liter bladder that I put in my pack. And I also have 2 1 liter bottles that sit in the side pockets of my pack. And I noticed too, like, particularly for people who may not have been on like long treks before, or multi-night treks, that if you have a bladder and you've got your mouthpiece right near you, it's way easier, like, just to keep constantly taking small sips all throughout the whole walk, rather than having to stop and take your pack off, get your water bottle out, take a big drink, put your water bottle back, put your pack back on. And I know that on the trek that I just did recently, there was one of the people on the trip who didn't have a bladder, and he was simply waiting until the group decided to stop before he was actually having a drink. And that can be, like, not so much, I'm not going to use the word dangerous, but you could dehydrate yourself, because if you're in a group where everyone else is using a bladder, they're all hydrating all along the way. So they don't need to stop as often as somebody who needs water bottles as well. So and as for me, I've always used having the bladder in my bag and just being able to sip all the time, because you don't even think about it, you just keep taking little sips and taking little sips. Tim said, is there much change in the weather across the day with temperature? We kind of sort of covered that, but, like, what about in there's months where it's recommended, and then I see other things about don't come in the monsoon. Like, is it like it? Are you likely to get lots of rain, like, outside of the recommended months?
No, not really. So the rain is prospected only in the monsoon time. And then the monsoon ends after mid of September, normally. Sometimes it can go like a week later behind or front, but normally it ends. And autumn, normally the months we don't expect, and normally the weather will be a beautiful, clear crystal weather with sunshine day. Sometimes it might be cloudy, nobody can, it's unpredictable, but as my experience.
you mean you can't forecast the weather, Dinesh?
As my experience, and I haven't seen like this all my life, this atmosphere and landscapes we
Yeah.
have here, it is like in autumn is always beautiful.
Yeah.
So that means
Awesome.
we have a
Yeah.
flower blooming and paddy rising ready,
Yeah.
and all this makes so beautiful moment and as atmosphere when we are going like Everest
Yeah.
or Annapurna anywhere.
Because as I said before, I did Everest Base Camp in September, and I think I remember getting our wet weather gear out a couple of times, but it was only for like a couple of hours during the day. And Annapurna circuit in November, I don't recall having to get our wet weather gear out at all. So yeah. Is there any particular style of day pack, or just whatever feels comfortable for the person to wear?
Like small daypack, which is comfortable for travelers, for any members, so that it's good for everyone.
Okay, cool. And then here's a curly one. How fit do I need to be? How would we answer
This is
that?
very important questions.
Yeah.
So well, I also go same way of answer. So it depends which trekking you are choosing. So most important is your research. Like where you go, which trek.
All right.
Like
so let's talk about Everest Base Camp trek then, just for an example, and then we might talk about a couple of others.
Yeah, if we going to Everest Base Camp trek, mentally and physically you must have to be prepared. Okay, so before you go, at least 3 to 4 months from departure of your trip, you have to have a good physical fitness because of avoid your deep breath, avoiding your walking speed, like the problem, and high altitude. So I recommend do running, hike, and at least you have to be mentally and physically, you have to be very strong for this type of trek.
From my point of view, I would say do stairs and do squats.
At least 3 or 4 months.
Yeah,
you have to have good exercise, good training from your departure date.
Yeah. So when you're saying, you said be like have good physical fitness, so what you're saying is like be able to walk up, and when I say up, it's not like even, it's rocky and it's uneven, but you have to be able to walk up for several hours at a time and still be able to maintain, like, keep your legs moving and be able to breathe and talk.
Yes, that's I want to tell you. Yeah, because normally every day we will walk 6-7 hours a day, and we 3 hours after we stop for lunch, and after lunch we will walk another couple of hours for final destinations, and then next day we will be continue walking. At least you should have good stamina, good for walking. And then when we will be we reach in the high altitude place, like after 3,400 3,000 4,000, our speed will be limited because of the atmosphere and high altitude. We will be slowly, but our energy will be expand anyway there. So we need to be, that's I'm talking about physically and mentally. Like people say, like if they are physically strong, but if they are not prepared mentally, not then they will have problems. So the both is very important, physical and mental. Physical for work and cover your day walk, and mental when you see the landscape and mountains, don't be very exciting and then emotional, then it also harmful for your trip. So mentally you have to be like prepared for the trip. So then this tips makes you success your trip.
Because a couple of times, like things that I remember is, you can get so focused on like looking at the track and making sure that you're stepping in the right way, and then all of a sudden you look up and you go, oh my God, like I'm in the Himalayas.
Like wow, it's like whoa, like kind of emotional. And then let's say another example, the mental, about the related to mental, when we get in busy season in the local tea houses and local spot, so sometimes they are very busy and crowded, and then we have to adjust with these localities. We have to adjust in the situations. This time it is important in your mental. So sometimes we can get comfortable sports. Sometimes we have to adjust in basic place as other travelers. So that's very important, your mental and physical.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned that earlier on, that the first time I went there, like this is going to be like this physical challenge that I'm doing to prove to myself that I can do it. But it turned out to be much more of a mental challenge and a change in the way that you think, and some of the stuff that you're used to where you go, oh no, I couldn't do that. Well, yes, you actually can. And from a fitness point of view, like I felt like I was pretty fit both times that I went, but I do remember the long, slow walk up to Thorongla Pass on Annapurna Circuit.
This is very challenging, yeah.
The zombie walk, I called it, because literally I felt like I was, taking 5 or 6 steps, like slow steps, and then I'd have to stop and take a breath and then take some more and stop and take a breath. But then, like once you get through the pass and down the other side, by the end of the day, you can almost breathe normally. And it was quite surreal in a way. So now Tim obviously wasn't listening to us before, because he said, how much water do you need to carry for a full day trek? But we did touch on that before. Yeah, so a 3 liter bladder. This is from my personal recommendation.
I just interrupted you. We don't have to carry the whole water for day, from morning. So we can get every places. So beginning of day, we will carry 1 liter. And when we finish the first liter, and we will refill or buy the another liter.
Okay.
Those are 2 types of water source you can get on trade. One is like treated, we call treated water. Treated water means like you get a natural tap water on your bottle, refill your bottle, and put the medicines for make it drinkable after half an hour. So you can also drink that. And if you want done like that, so you can also buy the a bottle of mineral water bottle every places. So, or like every sport, there is like a drinking stations place where you can buy in limited rupees, like 50 rupees, 100 rupees. It's like $50, half of bucks. You can buy every place. So,
I was forgetting that, because as I said, like I've just been out in the middle of Australia trekking for 2 weeks, and we literally had to carry the water we needed for the whole day, because there was no water on the track, just at the trailheads and at our camps and stuff. So I was starting each day with anything from 3 to 5 liters of water in my pack. That makes the pack nice and heavy. So
I'm agreed with you, because of like if normally your guide will brief you for following days, if, for example, if tomorrow, what is the situation where we get water or not? It depends of region where we are trekking. For example, if we are trekking in remote area, like where there is no village, no like lifestyle, basic people or any hot spot, so we have to sometimes carry a couple of liters also. But for our common trek like Everest region, Annapurna region, Manasolu region, we don't have to carry water for a whole day. We can fill wherever we want. So just 1 liter from morning, and every time your guide and your assistants will be follow up you. So they will suggest you, and you can ask to them, please, can you help me to refill my bottle? And they can bring the water bottle and the water, no problem.
Awesome. Yeah, I didn't, as I said, I forgot about that there's tea houses along the way.
There's so many beautiful tea houses waiting all travelers.
Okay, well, we've actually been talking for well over the half an hour that we planned to. So we might call it a day there. For anybody who's watching the replay, please type #replay in the comments. And if you do have a question that we haven't covered today, and it's even specific to your trip, or just something that's been niggling at you that you wanted to know, please type it in the comments, and Dinesh and I will keep an eye on the comments and come back and answer any questions. What I will also do is, from today's discussion, over the next few days, I'll create a PDF document with some of the key questions and some of the key comments so that there'll be a summary of what we talked about, which hopefully will be helpful to people. And if you're watching the replay and you would like the summary, please type #download in the comments and I will be in touch with you probably by the end of the week, I'd like to say, and we can sort something out for you. Now, this is something that Dinesh and I are planning to do each week. So we will be going live again at 1:15 p.m. next Tuesday, Brisbane time, 9 a.m. Kathmandu time. And what we're going to talk about next week is how to actually choose the right trip for you. What are the kind of things that you need to consider when you're trying to choose a trek in Nepal? Now, you may have been to Nepal already, and done Everest Base Camp and think, wow, I would really love to go back to Nepal, but I would like to go somewhere where maybe there's less people, maybe it's a bit more challenging, maybe it's a bit less challenging, whatever. So how do you actually go about choosing the right trip for you? Now, as I said, with Dinesh and his team at Nature Explore Trek, they can pretty much take you anywhere in Nepal that you want to go, either with one of their planned itineraries or with a bespoke itinerary that he can plan with you based on what you want. And the reason that Dinesh and I are collaborating is we have come up with a new product called Discover Your Edge. Now, this is a Nepal adventure, which is aimed pretty much at couples like myself and my partner. I like to trek, I like to get out there, I like to be part of nature. My partner, Tim, he likes to go for walks, but after an hour, he's had enough. So when I said I wanted to go back to Nepal for another adventure, he was like, yeah, but I would like to come too, but what am I going to do with Tim while we're trekking? So we've come up with a trip that has some cultural immersions. We have a give back day where we will go and visit a school and hang out with some kids and see how we can help them. We're going to Chitwan. I will be going trekking in Annapurna region with Dinesh, while people who don't want to trek, like my partner Tim, will be heading to Lumbini and Bandipur, and then they'll come back to Pokhara for a couple of days and do some cooking classes, some market tours, some of those nice things to do. Then we'll all come back together and have a day at a yoga meditation retreat. So we've kind of created this mixture of I'll call it like a taste of Nepal for everybody, to see, which parts and which areas and what type of things you like to do in Nepal. So if you like to trek and you have a partner who doesn't like to trek, but you would both like to come to Nepal, then Discover Your Edge is probably something you should look at. Anyway, that is enough from me today. Dinesh, did you have anything you wanted to say before we finish up?
No, I'm agreed on everything, and I'm very happy to looking for our next week meeting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I will let everybody know the details for next week, and thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom with us today.
Yeah. Welcome everyone, and namaste.
And namaste.
Namaste is like our welcome, like everywhere it is namaste. Like we do like this. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.